Tonight at Tropicana Field, Game 2 of the 4-game series against the Texas Rangers. The final homestand of the regular season for the Rays. And last night they got off to a good start. Their victory over the Texas Rangers moves them into the top spot all alone in the American League wildcard race. Now, one full game up on the Texas Rangers. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Good to have you looking in tonight. Todd Callis along in just a moment. Well, the Rays continue their march into the postseason. They seemingly have turned things around. A good offensive night last night, some timely hits, and they were led by the rookie Will Myers.
Well, Will Myers is on a hot streak right now, and you can trace it to the redefining of his strike zone. He's not chasing nearly as much, and he is forcing pitchers to come into the strike zone. When they have done that, he has not missed. And you can see that coming back in the power stroke, what he's done in his last 13 ball games. 18 hits during that span. 10 of them have gone for extra bases. He's showing that foul line to foul line power, and could not come at a better time for the Rays as they're in this stretch drive looking to secure a playoff berth. And it looks as if Will Myers is saying, hey, everybody, jump on board. I'm leading the train.
During that recent downturn, the Rays struggled with men in scoring position, but Will Myers has stepped up with that night last night. In fact, right now, he leads American League rookies in both home runs and runs batted in. Add to that on base percentage and slugging percentage. The swarming offense, so described by Joe Madden, seems to be back. And with that, hitting with men in scoring position. Todd Callis takes a close look at that.
On a rainy Tuesday night from Tropicana Field, Rays winning the first game of this series 6-2, and in the process for the first time hit over 500 with runners in scoring position. First time in a long time that has happened. In fact, if you break down the last 15 games for the Rays in our Toyota trend, you'll see that during their 7 wins, about 5 runs a game. Solid. 290 batting average. Very good. And in the 8 losses, unbelievably poor, the 2.3 runs per game. But look at the average with runners in scoring position. 316 during the wins, 111 in the 8 losses. We caught up with Evan Longoria and Derek Shelton and asked them about things maybe turning around lately for the Rays with runners on.
That was a welcome sign, a welcomed game last night, and something that I think we needed. And definitely something to build off of. We had, back-to-back at bats where we had base hits, which we haven't seen in a while.
I think it's one of those things that once you get a few of them that go through, we've gone in a situation where, we had a ball last night that hit down the line that wasn't hit very hard, that was fair. We had a 16 hopper that got through the middle that maybe a week ago would have been caught. So it's just one of those things where it is contagious, and I think, we went through a stretch where we had some guys on base. We couldn't find a hole. So as long as we're continuing to get guys on base, I think we're going to be in a good spot.
So here we go with game number 150 on the season. The Rays and the Rangers tied in the season series at 2 apiece. That could be important as well, as the winner of the season series would host if there's a tie in the wild card at the end of the season. 3 minutes and 15 seconds away and all the action. Enjoy it right here on Sunsport.
The right arm of Alex Cobb to defeat the reeling Rangers and move into the top spot alone in the American League wild card race. Tonight, Jeremy Hellickson goes to the hill, looking to build off his last 2 solid starts. We welcome you inside Tropicana Field. Jeremy Hellickson goes to the mound, making his 30th start as he squares off against the Texas Rangers. We'll take a look at Ron Washington's starting lineup, same as last night. Ian Kinsler leads it off, followed by Elvis Andrus and Alex Rios in right field hitting third. Adrian Beltre at third base, the cleanup hitter. A.J. Przenski will catch. The DH is Lance Berkman. Jim Adduci in left. Mitch Moreland at first base, bats 8th. And Leonis Martin is in center field. He will bat 9th.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, making his 30th start of the season and his 3rd start since the Rays gave him a little bit of a break, get things back under control, is Jeremy Hellickson. Season numbers 11-8, ERA 5.04. But in those last two starts, this will be his third start in the last 22 days. And in his last two, you've seen better stuff, more crisp, better velocity on the fastball, better location on the fastball. And that should play well tonight against this Rangers lineup. Let's take a look at the defense as it lines up behind him in the outfield left to right. DeJesus, Jennings, and Myers across the infield third to first. Longoria, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney. Jose Lobaton will be behind the plate.
There's Joe Madden. He has his club now with a record of 82 and 67. Joe seems relaxed and ready for the stretch drive. Of course, he seemed relaxed sometimes in the middle of the most disastrous situations when the Rays really struggle. And Ron Washington, his club continues to struggle. They've lost 7 in a row and 10 of their last 11.
And in those 7 losses in a row, covering 63 innings, they have yet to hold a lead at any time during that run. Really, when you think about that, it's astounding that you wouldn't even have a 1-0 lead in the second inning of a ball game. You know, you may end up losing it, but to not even have a lead at any point, just amazing.
A lot of grim faces in that Texas dugout these days. And Ian Kinsler will step in for the Rangers. Kinsler hitting .273 in the first pitch of this game. Drilled down the left side. That ball is going to get out of here. A fair ball. First pitch. Leadoff home run by Kinsler. He now has a dozen home runs. And there is that 1-0 Texas lead that they have not had in their last 7 losses.
Well, Ian Kinsler, we talked about it last night. He does have some pop. He will ambush. And that was the idea right here. And this is why it's going to be so important for Jeremy Hellickson to have good command of that fastball, because when they leak out over the plate, that's when he's been hurt.
'23rd home run given up by Hellickson. And now he goes to work against Andrus. Pitch is down. There are a lot of home runs in this lineup, in the Texas lineup against Hellickson. That home run by Kinsler, the second he has hit in his career of Jeremy. 1-1 to count to Andrus. Andrus, by contrast, is just one of 11 lifetime against Hellickson. Texas taking this 1-0 lead. The show of a bunt, taking the pitch down. 2-1.
Jeremy said that he wanted to have better command than he had in his last start against the Red Sox, where he pitched into the 6th inning. He did have 3 walks in that ball game, but also struck out 7 in a no decision. But that is always the key. And it'll be especially the key against this team tonight, because you know, again, like last night, got to be very aggressive.
Pop back into shallow center. Jennings coming in. 1 away. Hellickson to face Alex Rios now. Rios hitting .280. 3 of 7 with a home run in his career against Hellickson. Jeremy's pitch is low. 1-0.
When Nelson Cruz, who was counted on to be a major run producer, productive player for this Rangers lineup, when he was suspended, this is about the best you could have gone out and gotten.
Long shot the other way, and Myers will catch it a couple steps from the track. And when you look at his numbers in a Texas uniform, he's held up his end of the bargain.
He really has. But you've got to be excited leaving the Chicago White Sox, a team that had struggled from the beginning of the year, were never really in it. And then all of a sudden you get into a pennant race situation with his skill set. You know, he does have the power, can hit the ball gap to gap. He runs quite a bit. 11 for 11 in stolen bases with the Rangers, 37 overall on the season. He becomes your everyday right fielder.
The Chevy marquee matchup, the spotlight on this matchup right here for Hellickson. Beltre, 4 of 6 with 2 career home runs off Jeremy. Hellickson tops in total hits with 184 and 4th in the American League in hitting. There's a roller for Zobrist, shaded toward the middle. Texas out in the first. They pick up a run on the leadoff Kinsler home run. Rays coming in to hit, down 1-0. Texas a 1-0 lead. And now the Rays come in to hit in the bottom of the first with Ben Zobrist leading off tonight. Will Myers and James Loney. Down the middle, Evan Longoria, the DH Matt Joyce, and then Desmond Jennings. David DeJesus hits 7th. Jose Lobaton 8th, and Yunel Escobar, the shortstop, bats 9th.
Well, making the start tonight for the Texas Rangers is going to be right-hander Alexi Ogando. And tonight, for manager Ron Washington and the Rangers, it's going to be piece it together. Ogando up and down on the disabled list 3 times this year, and in the 4 appearances since he's come off the latest time, just 6 innings total pitched.
His first pitch to Zobrist is a strike. Comes in with a mid-90s fastball. First pitch out of his hand.
And you can expect that he's going to air it out because this guy, his last start was August the 13th.
Zobrist just a little piece of a fastball at 96.02.
He has been battling shoulder issues, bicep tendonitis all season long. 3 different stints on the disabled list. And his longest outing since that last start is just 2 innings. So Ron Washington, hoping to get a handful of innings out of Ogando before having to turn it over to the pen.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's got a big arm, and just in a short amount of time in his career, he's done a lot of different things. I mean, he was basically a full-time starter back in 2011, went 13-8 with a 3.5. All of a sudden, 2012, he finds himself right back out in the bullpen. 58 appearances, just 1 start that year.
Yeah, he was on the All-Star team in 2011. 2-2.
Obviously has become a very valuable member of this Rangers ball club if he can stay healthy.
Pitch is popped up on the left side. Backpedaling out Beltre, and he makes the catch. 1 gone.
Let's take a quick look at the Ranger defense as it lines up tonight behind Ogando. In the outfield, left to right, Jim Adduci, Leonys Martin in center, Alex Rios in right. Across the infield, third to first, Beltre, Andrus, Kinsler, and Moreland. A.J. Pierzynski will be behind the plate.
And here's Will Myers, who had the big night last night. Willed up in the number 2 spot. He homered and doubled, scored a couple runs, and drove in 3 last night. And the pitch is a strike, a slider.
I love, for a couple of different reasons, what Joe Maddon has done with the lineup tonight. First of all, you get your top 4 hottest hitters up right away. Zobrist, who had a huge night last night. Myers has been on fire. Then Loney, he's always going to give you a good at bat, and Longoria. But because of the fact that Agondo's not going to be able to go deep and it's going to be a bullpen matchup game, he's going switch, right, left, switch, right. So you can't play that matchup issue because of the way he's thrown this lineup out there at the Rangers. And I think that is obviously a well-thought-out, brilliant move by Joe.
And he may have 1 or 2 spots in there where if he finds himself facing a lefty, he'll make that switch.
Yeah. You still got, you start to think of the guys coming off the bench. You immediately think of Delman Young as a right-handed hitter. A lot of options here for Joe tonight.
It's headed to Andrus, the shortstop. Throws out Will. So 2 up and 2 down. James Loney will bat here against Ogando. That home run by Kinsler, not only had the Rangers not had a lead in all that time, they hadn't hit a home run. They've gone 7 games without a home run. And that's the longest a Texas team has suffered that kind of drought since 1990.
It's a big year, Dwayne.
It was a big year.
It was a big year. When was that in 1990?
The drought?
Yeah, it depends. Beginning of the year, still in high school. If it's this time of year, just getting ready to head to college.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago. Okay, it was being told it's in August.
Yep.
So I was just packing up, me and my braces, getting ready to head down to college. Which, by the way, freshman year going in with braces to play some ball, it's never a good move.
Ground ball up the middle. There goes the glove by Ogando, and the pickup. The throw to first. Loney's out of there. Ogando's glove wound up off the third base side of the mound. 3 up, 3 down, 1-0 Texas. By Just for Men, Mustache and Beard. By Toyota, let's go places. Coventry Healthcare, coverage so you can keep living the life you want. Go live, we've got you covered. And by Checkers, feast on. Jeremy Hellickson back to the hill for the Rays. He'll face the catcher, A.J. Pierzynski. He goes after the first one and shoots it into center. And Desmond Jennings right there to make the grab. Hellick's in touch for the home run by Kinsler to lead off the game. Now he gets Brzezinski on the fly ball to open the second. He'll face the veteran DH Lance Berkman.
Well, this Texas team has already shown you that they are not going to be afraid to go after that first pitch off Jeremy, looking for that first pitch fastball, and that's why imperative that Jeremy gets into good spots.
The first pitch strike to Berkman. Now that's been an issue with Hellickson when he has run into trouble. He may have thrown a lot of strikes. In fact, he's walked fewer this year than other years. But it is the location of those strikes that can make the difference.
There is no question, because when you look at his walks per 9 innings, they're down slightly, but down, that's always a good thing. But hits per 9 are up and then some. So more to make up for the difference in the walks being down. So you're right, it's about the quality of the strike. More strikes, great. Quality, maybe not where Jeremy would want it right now.
And he has Berkman out in front, 1-2.
But still, here's the thing, he's still young, and his mechanics are still simple. I mean, nothing's changed, and I think that that's something, if he puts his mind to really refining the command of that fastball to where he is pinpoint with it, he will become elite, because he can get you to do things like that.
Well, he doubles up with the changeup and strikes out Berkman, who's been, as we all know, a great hitter throughout his career.
And watch where the changeup is. Expand the zone. He takes that ball a few inches off the plate, but you got to protect. He's fooled on the pitch and the location.
Jim Adduci. Adduci hitting .400 in his stint with the Texas Rangers. One strike.
We saw him take a couple of good hacks in last night's game. Good young hitter.
The 0-1. Ground ball to the right side, and Zobrist handles that flawlessly. 1-2-3. We're through an inning and a half from the Trop. 1-0 Texas. Home half of the second inning. Middle part of the order, Longoria, Joyce, and Jennings against Ogando. Pitch upstairs. Rays had a dozen hits and scored 6 runs last night. And Evan had a 3-hit night. 1-1. He was part of the barrage of hits the Rays put together when they opened the 5th inning en route to their 4-run inning. They had 5 consecutive hits. Longoria in the middle of that with an RBI single and eventually scored a run.
Tell you what, and I was shocked too to see that was the most hits that the Rays have had in a home game since before the All-Star break.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
Yep.
And their most hits with runners in scoring position at home since like May, end of May.
Pitch in on him, and he's going to stroke it foul up the left side. Well, he might be able to keep it fair for just a moment, but it hooked foul. 2-2. It's been an interesting year offensively for this club, and we've talked about it before. The slow end to spring training and then the slow start for a couple of weeks of the season. And there appeared to be some real concern there about the offense when they got hot in Baltimore. Strike called on the outside corner. Longoria
brought back in. Watch Przinsky's glove work. Ball's going to be off the plate. That's why you see Evans so upset. This ball is at the knees, maybe just on the corner of Przinsky. Brings it back 3 or 4 inches.
Think about Przinsky. He's not altogether sly about things like that. He tries to do things that would be good if you were sly, sort of, the sleight of hand.
Yeah.
But he's not. He just does them anyway.
Yeah. No, he would be the world's worst magician. He would cut the woman in half.
Yeah, that's it.
There, look it, I did it.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Yeah. And I'm safe.
Clean up.
1-1 the count to Matt Joyce. That's his game. He enjoys aggravating opponents and giving you great material.
Too easy.
Joyce in the lineup, 3 out of 5 against Ogando. 3-1 the count. It's been a struggle for Matt recently, but Joe Madden has him in there tonight again against Ogando because of that matchup.
Now, and that's what you're hoping for, get Matt Joyce, going again. He has been given a spot in this lineup, prime real estate, right behind Longoria, hitting 5th.
Shoots this one foul, lines it out of play. Turned on the fastball, 3-1.
The one thing that we've seen from Joe at time and again is he will stick with guys. He will stick with guys, even if it's just to instill a false sense of confidence in them until the worm turns, and then all of a sudden they start to produce again.
Joyce out on strike. Sometimes you think, Joyce missed the slider, sometimes you think Joe writes out the lineup card and puts it up, and there's this little smile, a little semi-smirk going, I wonder what they're going to think about this.
That's what I was thinking. Let's see what they have to say about this lineup. No, there's no doubt. There is no doubt. And we do. We have plenty to say up here.
We do.
Between 5:30 and 6:30.
Yep. That's the first thing you want to know as soon as you get here. During his tenure. Hey, hi, good to see you. Oh, no, let's see the lineup.
Yeah.
We'll say hi later. I will see what this lineup looks like.
Well, that's why I was so interested. When Ogando was announced, and you knew in the last over a month, he's only thrown 6 innings at the big league level. His longest outing's been 2 innings. What would the lineup look like knowing that it was going to be a bullpen type day? And sure enough, it got creative, and he did a nice job of going back and forth. So he's not stuck in any set pattern where you can keep running out righties or all of a sudden bring in a lefty and have a left-handed field lineup. Nice job of staggering everybody.
And that's a strike on the outside part of the plate. Jennings was set to head to first.
Yeah, well, that pitch that was called on Evan Longoria was probably a little bit off, borderline pitch. But you got to stay in there tonight. and be ready, because that pitch is being called.
And again, Ogando went right back out there with a 3-1 slider.
Yeah, and this was a good pitch. And Manny Gonzalez, he was emphatic with that call. You see Przinsky's able to stick that on the outside corner. And Gonzalez letting you know.
The count is full after being behind 3-0. And now Jennings is out on strikes. Slider gets him. Ogando strikes out the side. 1-0 Texas.
Honor the life of the great Roberto Clemente. Before the game, David Price was honored with the nomination for the 2013 Tampa Bay Rays Roberto Clemente Award. He'll be a nominee along with a representative from every other team. And he talks about how important it is for him to give back to the Rays community.
You know, giving back to, you know, different communities is fun for me. You know, I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the looks on those kids' faces whenever I walk in or whenever I'm just hanging out, whether it's playing dodgeball or kickball or baseball with them. You know, it's just it's a lot of fun. It doesn't take a whole lot of my time to do it, and it really makes a difference.
David said before the game that he really talked about this with his parents, Bonnie and Debbie, growing up, that if he ever had a chance to make an impact like this, he would. His Project 1-4 Foundation and all the time he puts in, guys. A lot of stuff he does under the radar, too. It's good to see him get the nomination.
All right, Todd, thank you. And you're right, that's around baseball. Every club gets a nominee for their good work in the community. Named after the late and great Roberto Clemente. 2-0 the count to Mitch Moreland, leading off the third. Moreland snapped it 0 for 22 last night when he doubled and scored a run in the 5th inning. Some of these hitters the Rangers were counting on have had difficult years, especially lately during their slide. It's a little wide.
Well, it's been a struggle. I mean, 2-12 in September. They've not pitched particularly well. Their starters have gotten them off to horrible starts, and the offense hasn't done anything to cover up those blemishes. You're right. A lot of guys counted upon. You know, there's a lot of. You look through the lineup. A lot of names in here, and Moreland's going to take a walk. But a lot of names where you say, we got to get pitch careful to this guy. Got to watch this guy. A lot of potential here, and it has just not happened. Not when it's counted.
So Moreland's at first with that walk. Leonis Martin will be up there. Well, losing Cruz was a big blow to this lineup, and with Berkman being injured at 37, having a difficult time getting back into the swing of things, Moreland's numbers down. Murphy, who they thought would hit more than he has. Martin has struggled recently. Runner takes off on the bunt, and that's a foul ball. Strike one. And so what Ron Washington so often has night after night, maybe a five-man lineup, five guys in there who are swinging the bats pretty well, and other guys who are either injured or struggling.
It has been a challenge to try to piece something together. You know, the other thing that confounds you is they're not a blow you out of the water home run team, but they will hit their fair share. They also do a great job in the running game, and even adding Rios makes them more dangerous.
Yep, this one stroked up the right side toward the corner. Moreland's going to go to third. The ball bouncing in and out of the corner, and a nice job by Myers to get it out of there. Moreland stops at third as Martin doubles.
Well, this is what can get frustrating. You know, Jeremy Hellickson, the command of that fastball, and he allows here in the top of the third inning, you know, a walk to the leadoff hitter, who's the number 8 hitter, and then Martin, the old fastball down and in. If you're going to come in on most left-handed hitters, you want that ball at the hands. Most lefties are able to drop the head and get to that ball down and in. That's where that pitch was. That's what Martin did.
So a major scoring threat by Texas, and here's Kinsler, who opened the game with the home run. In fact, Dustin Pedroia opened the home run, hit a leadoff home run for Boston in their game against Baltimore tonight. And a base hit into center off a curveball. Moreland scores, Martin scores. Big turn by Kinsler, and it's 3-0 Texas. Well, Hellickson served the curveball up there, and Kinsler served it right back into center.
He's seen 2 pitches, one for a solo home run, one for a 2 RBI single. Look how he stays back just enough to get to that pitch. That's not a bad first pitch of the at-bat to Kinsler. Down and away with the curveball. It was a better piece of hitting by Kinsler. We saw him last night start to come out offensively for this Rangers ball club. Swung the bat very well. His problem was on the base paths.
Yeah, he was a little aggressive. But 2 for 2 tonight already. And he's driven in all 3 Texas runs. Thomas Andrews takes one outside. Walk, double, and a base hit. Texas with 2 more. Andrews put down a sacrifice bunt last night. Otherwise 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts. Hellickson misses wide. Ray's bullpen is going to start to get busy. And that's Wesley Wright making his first toss in the bullpen.
You know what? Buckle up the chin strap, because Joe Madden is going to manage these last 13 games as if they're playoff games. Until something's clinched, I don't care who you are. If you're struggling on the mound, he's got a deep enough bullpen. He's going to go to it early. Some guys may have a longer leash than others, but that's just going to be the way that he does it.
It's 3-0 to Andrews. Hellickson at a 1-2-3 second, looking to get the first out here in the third, facing his 4th hitter. Andrews takes it for a strike. 3-1. The move sends Kinsler back to the bag. to left field. That ball's going to carry and get out of here. 3-1 pitch. And Elvis Andrus has just hit his third home run of the year. It's 5-0 Texas.
You know, Dwayne, you look back at this inning for Texas, save for the curveball that, just Ian Kinsler did a great job on. What has been the theme? Mislocation with the fastball, the walk to Moreland, the fastball down and in to Martine, and then the 3-1 fall behind pitch right out over the plate to Andrus. That has been the theme, and Texas has capitalized.
So the Rangers, who had not hit a home run in 7 games, have hit 2 in under 3 innings in this one so far tonight, coming from the top 2 hitters in their lineup.
And even go back to that, the first home run by Kinsler. That was a first pitch fastball of the game that was middle center cut. And so, once again, that's the one thing where if Jeremy stays out over the white part of the plate, it's not going to be good. If he pitches to the corners and down, he's outstanding.
No outs in the inning, and after a visit from Jim Hickey, Hellickson misses on the first pitch. 1-0.
This is where pride kicks in. Your chances of having a great outing are now over. But it's about saving the bullpen as much as possible and getting key outs. No more. Whatever you have left, whatever they're going to give Jeremy from here on out, you got to make it count and hope that somehow the Rays offense can come back. Listen, they're going to be facing nothing but the Rangers bullpen for the most part tonight. So there'll be an opportunity to score runs.
The Rays are going to have their hitting shoes on tonight, down early. Top of the third, a 4 spot put up there by Texas. Rios, did he go? Yes, he did. Terry Cooper down there.
A little bit too far. Right call.
It's outside of third.
Another stat that you can speak to where that Jeremy's location has been a little off this year compared to years past. We always talk about his BABIP, the batting average on balls in play, and it's always going to be low because of the weak contact that he gets because of the changeup. This year, coming into this ball game, it was 308. That is miles above anywhere where it's been his 2 full seasons in the big leagues.
Here's the shortstop Escobar taking care of that one.
And typically when you look at that number, the higher the number, the more solid the contact usually is. So you get that batting average on balls in play up over 300, and that's a lot of good solid contact where, if it's down in that, let's see, you go back to 2011, his BABIP was 224, rookie of the year, 264 last year. Still an excellent number. That's a lot of balls off the end, little weak pop-ups, weak contact. A little bit different this year.
Here's Beltre taking a strike. One ball, one strike. One away with 4 runs home in the third. Two balls and a strike. Hellickson over 20 pitches in the inning. Tamper foul. 2-2. Here's the urgency of this series for the Rays. They come in a game up with last night's win. But if they play this schedule out and the Rangers and the Rays should happen to finish with the same record at the top of the wild card, the Rays need to win 3 out of 4 here to gain the home field advantage in the season series, because they lost 2 out of 3 to Texas over in Arlington. Will Myers makes the catch for the second out.
Yeah, you're right. They split, and those are the 2 teams. Guess what? That charter from Toronto is heading right to Arlington.
That's right. And here comes Joe Madden with A.J. Przinsky due up. Madden wants the left-hander Wesley Wright on a Metro PCS call to the bullpen. Angeles for a Fox Sports 1 game break. Thank you for the update. Here, Wesley Wright on to face A.J. Przinsky with the bases empty. And the first pitch from Wright is in there for a strike. 28-year-old left-hander. Most of that work came with the Astros before the Rays picked him up. Wright, 28-year-old left-hander out of Montgomery, Alabama. With the Rays AA affiliate, the Montgomery Biscuits. Fastball foul, out of play.
That was a get off me swing by A.J. Przinsky. That ball running up and in. Sets up nicely for a breaking ball down and away here. 2 strikes.
Tried to get it out there into the dirt. Slider, and the count is the ball and 2 strikes. You know, Przinsky gets jammed a lot. And then he'll take that pitch away. Just like flick it. In the left.
Just drop it in there.
Yeah.
No, he's an annoyance. All around. And you're right. He does. He tries to see the ball for a long time. That's what leads to getting jammed quite a bit. Like that. I hit the ball with his thumb.
And it's a
Yeah.
fair ball.
He didn't hit anything.
That really was off his thumbs, at least off one of them. And he is out pitcher first. Right from Przinsky's thumb to Wright, who throws him out. It's 5-0 Texas. Tonight's game available in Spanish via SAP. Brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida. Elvis Andrus belting a home run in the third. Ian Kinsler hit one in the first. A 4-run top half of the third. 2 coming on the Andrus home run, and Kinsler's base hit drove in 2 more. And the Rays are facing Alexi Ogando. Ogando struck out the side in the second inning. He's faced just 6 through the first 2, which means it will be David DeJesus, Jose Lobaton, and Yunel Escobar coming up in the home half of the third.
Well, since coming off that disabled list for the 3rd time this season, Ogando's now gone 8 innings, giving up just 1 hit. So he has been extremely sharp, and that's what the Rays have seen through the first 2. Thank goodness he doesn't have a pitch limit of about 115, 120. I think you'd want to see him for 7, 8 innings.
Ogando was originally signed by the Oakland A's as an outfielder. 1-0 the count to DeJesus. Was back in 2002. When Texas drafted him in the minor league draft out of the Oakland farm system and moved him to the mound.
Brilliant. Tremendous arm, tremendous stuff. And becoming well-versed in about every role you could have as a pitcher. Starter, late-inning reliever.
And with 6'4", he can create a good angle. He's lanky. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, that's why you start looking at prep pitchers and college pitchers, and they'd love to have them 6'3", 6'4", about 220, driving the ball downhill, creating that angle of which you speak.
Up that one upstairs, and it's 3-1 to DeJesus.
Take a freebie, or pitch out over the plate here where DeJesus can drive it.
Strike 2 is going to run the count full. Manny Gonzalez, 33-year-old umpire, working the plate. He's out of Caracas, Venezuela. And he's shown that he will call that strike on the corner tonight. And there is strike 3 call. A 3-2 slider. 4 consecutive strikeouts posted by Ogando. And we'll check in with Todd right now. Todd?
Dwayne, a dozen games to go. These 2 teams came in tied for the wild card slots, 1 and 2, a half game ahead of Cleveland before last night's game. So our AT&T Twitter poll question is this: do you think the Rays and the Rangers will end up being the 2 AL wild card teams? TB1, yes, both. Hashtag TB2, only the Rays. Hashtag TB3, only the Rangers. Hashtag TB4, neither team's going to make it. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. If they do meet, it would be the 3rd time in the last 4 years these 2 teams met in the first round of the playoffs. And there you see the current picture entering tonight, guys.
Well, right now the percentages rest with the teams that are in those spots. But the Rangers have seen their chances of getting to the postseason slide from about 98% to about the middle of the pack now. A little over 50%, I think, right now.
Yeah, and what you don't want, especially for the Rays in the next couple of nights, is for this game to serve as a wake-up call to this Ranger ball club.
Yep.
Because if they are clicking on all cylinders, they are extremely dangerous, but they have been in a free fall since the calendar turned September.
There's a high drive off the bat of Lobaton down the line, and that ball is fair and gone. Towering home run for Lobaton. It's number 7 for Jose Lobaton. Just a matter of fair or foul. Turned out to be fair by a nice little margin.
Well, the Rays know that they're going to get a piecemeal game from the Rangers. And so even though this is just a solo shot, you see they want it away. That ends up middle, in, and down. Lobaton launches. That is a huge boost for the Rays as they're able to just get that one run, get some excitement going in that dugout, and know that they're going to have their chances.
There's Escobar taking ball 1. So Lobaton opens the scoring for the Rays.
That was a pretty shot, too. I mean, that right there is swimsuit competition. I'm going like 9.75. I think the only thing that would get a perfect 10 for me is a blast to center off the roof of the restaurant. The Johnny Gomes walk-off, if you will. That'll get a 10. Other than that, that was majestic in height.
And that was a legitimate home run, too. Of course, anything hit here is going to be pretty legitimate as opposed to maybe a short wall.
Yeah.
You know, right down the line. It's 322 down the line here, and then it angles back quickly, and that ball was up in the seats.
That's upper deck in Yankee Stadium.
And Escobar draws the walk. The Rays follow up the home run with a base on balls. Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, heads to the mound.
You know, going to be tough enough for this Texas pitching staff to navigate this Rays lineup all night long. What you don't want to see, and what Mike Maddox doesn't want to see, is for the Rays to chip away and get back in this because of the work of the bottom of the lineup, especially first time through.
Ligondo, you see there 43 pitches to this point, making this start. Still, at this point, no stirring in the bullpen for Texas. The Rangers trying to piecemeal this start together.
Yeah, and that outing, that was back on September the 10th. He threw 2 innings against the Pittsburgh Pirates, 28 pitches. That's the most pitches he's thrown since the middle of August.
43 right now. Here's Ben Zobrist. One and oh. Popped up, the foul ball back, out of play. 1-1. So you see Ben from that center field shot. He grew up in Central Illinois, was a Cardinal fan. Stan Musial finished playing by the time he was a fan, but he was well aware of the legend of Stan Musial. And you watch him with that front shoulder in and that head peeking around a little bit. There's a little Stan Musial in that stance right there. 2 balls and a strike.
Is that a trick question to me?
No, it just is. We had that great shot from center.
Well, that's close to home for you.
It is. It is.
What a great baseball town. What a great, I mean, year in and year out, when they talk about the best fans in Major League Baseball, Cardinals run away with it every year.
They have knowledgeable fans, and they're fair, and they will applaud an opponent for an outstanding performance or play.
Yeah, that's what's classy about it. They root for their team. They root for their team hard, but they acknowledge good play by the visitors.
There's a base hit driven through the right side. Escobar is going to stop at second on the base hit to right by Zobrist.
Well, here you go. You wonder how much Ligondo has left in the tank. Well, he poured through those first 2 innings, has hit a stumbling block here with command, bad counts. Maybe starting to lose it just a little bit now at 48 pitches.
We'll get Frazier up in the bullpen. Frazier was in the game for 2/3 of an inning last night. Texas jumped out to a 5-0 lead. It's now 5-1. And Will Myers will be up here with 2 men on base. He popped one last night. Myers hit an opposite field home run in the 2nd inning. He hit one Sunday, a long blast against Minnesota, and there's a high fly ball into right. Rios camps under it and makes the catch. Well, you start to see the reaction even on that swing and that fly ball. It was just a medium right, but with that swing, he comes close to squaring up pitches and creates excitement. You could hear the reaction of the fans.
Yeah, well, everybody knows how powerful and how strong he is, and so they see the swing, they see the ball come off the bat in the air, and that's knee-jerk. Here comes another.
So 2 outs, and James Loney will step in here against Ogando. And we know Loney's capable of parking one. Fastball at 96. That's a strike. Lobatone's home run gets the Rays on the board. Fouled right back. Couple fastballs. 96 and 95. Well, that velocity tells you that if a guy hasn't been stretched out and he starts to get into that area where he may or may not be in trouble, it's not the velocity that goes first.
No, velocity will be the last thing to go.
Nope. This one's skipping away. That'll advance the runners up to 2nd and 3rd. Brzezinski chased that wild pitch all the way down to the coaching box at 3rd.
You know, when you think about a pitcher starting to lose it, the first things to lose, the first things to go, I should say. This ball so far in the dirt, Brzezinski sliding over, it catches a lot of the shin guard. That's why it bounds away so far, and he's got to hustle to get there. The first couple of things to go are going to be command and finish. You can't quite get the ball to your spot. Your hand out in front's not very good, and consequently, the hand out in front not being very good will lead to a lack of finish on the pitches. The velocity, you can maintain that sometimes. That will be the third thing to go.
Ground ball, a couple of hops to Andrus at short, and the Rays leave 2 men in scoring position. They do get a run on the home run by Lobatone. We've completed 3. It's 5-1 Texas. The Texas Rangers leading the Rays. Tune in tomorrow for the Wednesday night showdown. The Rays taking on this Texas Ranger Ball Club once again, sponsored by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Wesley Wright on the mound for the Rays now. He got the final out in the third inning. Jeff Baker up here hitting in the fourth inning. There's a strike.
Dwayne, do you find it the least bit ironic that here in the middle of September, two teams clawing and scratching for a playoff berth, and we're basically going through spring training in September?
With the roster expansion?
Right.
Yeah. You know, that's an interesting topic. And toward that end, the Rays just added a little speed, you know, and teams will do that. They added Freddie Guzman to the active roster, and essentially Guzman, 32 years old, and they will add him and utilize him when they need a runner. So you get very specialized because of the expanded rosters. There's been a lot of discussion about whether those rosters make any sense or not. 2-2 the count to Baker. If you're playing all year long, what it does, it will reward a team that has organizational depth. But Joe Madden had a good idea about that. It's all right. Let your team expand and call up as many guys as you want. You got 40 men on the roster, on the major league roster, but you can only activate a certain number each night. You designate those guys who are active. Swing and a miss, and that takes care of Baker. So that's the first out here in the fourth inning. Let's go to L.A. for another Fox Sports 1 game break. Jim Adducci up here. Leans away from the pitch. Breaking ball that's up a bit, out of the zone. 1-0.
Going back to what you were talking about with Joe Madden, his ideas on September expansion, yeah. I love that idea.
Yeah,
I love it.
It makes sense. You know, if you want to expand rosters, okay, expand them if you want. You got to pick a number. That would be the decision. 25, 28, 30, cap it somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, give a handful of extra guys a game, and I mean a handful.
Yeah.
You have 33 guys on the roster. Give them 28. You get 3 extra.
Yeah.
You want 2 pitchers and a position player, a couple of bats, and maybe an extra arm. Your call. Get a fresh bullpen. Maybe you don't add anybody. Yeah. 3 position guys.
Yeah.
You know that I love that idea.
I've known managers who had clubs in contention. As we see Gomes up in the bullpen, they were reluctant to call too many guys up if they didn't deem them ready to compete, number one, in the big leagues, or certainly in a pressure situation. And the thinking was, if they're there, you're going to use them, and maybe they shouldn't be there. Maybe they're not ready for that moment.
These moments are bigger than most.
Yeah.
And everybody, when you come to the ballpark, you know what's at stake. You know what time of year it is.
Adducci, a big swing, pulling off the left-handed delivery. 2 gone.
That's why one of the phrases and one of the thoughts out there that drives me crazy are when pundits say, well, this team's so young, they don't even know what they're doing. Honestly, I want to hurt when I hear stuff like that, because as young as you are and as naive as you may be and freewheeling and just happy-go-lucky, you know exactly what's at stake, and you know exactly what, you know, this type of year and the pressure that it means. You can just tell that by the media contingent that starts to come out this time of year.
Strike to Mitch Moreland. Yeah, they know.
Yeah,
You know.
I mean, of course they do. But you hear the idea of this team is just so young and laid back. They have no idea what they're doing right now. Like they're just a bunch of morons out there running around, just happen to be good ball players. Which may be true for a couple of them, but not as a collective group.
I never thought that.
Well, you hear it said all the time. I hear it said all the time.
Yeah.
And I get the point that they're trying to make, but you absolutely are aware of what's going on here, and that's why you got to be careful on who you bring up and what situations they go in. What does Joe Madden and managers say? We want to put these players into the best possible position for them to succeed. You got to pick wisely, choose wisely in September.
And to me, that really seems to be the secret of managing. And I've also heard some managers say the other secret is to keep the 5 guys who really don't like you, you know, and the 5 guys really like you, 5 really don't. You keep the guys who don't like you away from all the other guys.
That's so true. Hey, listen, it comes right down to when you come into spring training even. Forget about regular season. But even spring training, where your lockers are located, who they have you next to. I mean, all of those things matter.
Ground ball handled by Zobrist. Couple of steps into the outfield. Moreland out of there. Bottom of the 4th coming up. It's 5-1 Texas. Take your favorite team with you everywhere you go with the Rays Messenger Bag. This bag only available through the purchase of a Tampa Bay Times ticket tandem to a game against the Orioles the 20th through the 23rd. Buy yours now before supplies run out. Purchase by visiting RaysBaseball.com/tandems. Longoria swings and misses the slider. Ogando opening the 4th inning. Joyce due next, and then Jennings. Fly ball, center field. Martin ranging to his right after it. It's the first out in the 4th. And the DH, Matt Joyce, strolls to the plate. Matt struck out against Ogando in the 2nd inning. One 1-0. Ball, 1 strike. Joyce is down in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Boy, tough spot to be in. Tough spot to be in. You're struggling. You're facing a guy that's got great stuff, coming off of a strikeout in your first at bat, trying to make something happen.
You got Joyce had a 3-2 slider the first time. Ground ball to Moreland at first. 2 up and 2 down. So the bases will be empty for Desmond Jennings. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Chris Archer will take on Derek Holland. It will be a Web Wednesday. And Restus is going to break down the Rookie of the Year race.
Well, you know what, fans? We had to do this one time before. I'm not going to get fired up. But what I'm going to say is the last few Web Wednesdays have been lacking. I mean, we've had... In fact, I actually asked in one of our pre-production meetings, have we done away with Web Wednesday? Because we're getting one question a day.
Jennings, first pitch, and he lofts it into shallow center. Martin grabs that one, and it's 3 up, 3 down, so the call has gone out from BA. It's 5-1 as we go to the 5th. Roberto Clemente. Time for the Just for Men mustache and beard play like a champ, and that was Roberto Clemente. 3,000 career hits, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1973 after his untimely death in the airplane crash on New Year's Eve in 1972. Martin leads it off, and the first pitch from Wesley Wright is a strike. David Price named one of the 30 nominees for the Roberto Clemente Award. One. The award recognizing current players who demonstrate the value of helping others, and that's what Clemente was doing en route delivering supplies to earthquake victims in Nicaragua when his plane perished. 1-2 the count to Martin. Kinsler next, and then Andres. Go back around to the top of the lineup for Texas. Fair ball by the bag at third. De Jesus over to pick it up. It's going to be a leadoff double for Martin. He's 2 for 2. 2 doubles.
Well, he gets a fastball down and in, rips it into the right field corner in his first at bat, and then here he squirts one up the third base line, using the entire field. And
Let's a look at the 2-base hit to begin the 5th. And with the Martin double, that's going to be it for Wesley Wright. A Metro PCS call to the bullpen by the Rays. Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. And by the Tampa Bay Times. Amazing stories only in the 2013 Pulitzer Prize-winning Tampa Bay Times. Well, the Rays make the pitching change. Brandon Gomes in here to face Ian Kinsler. His first pitch is outside. Well, it's to this point been a reversal of tactics. Hellickson started for the Rays, went 2 2/3, then Wesley Wright, and now Brandon Gomes. Texas Rangers had announced pretty much it would be a bullpen day, the start of a move by Martin, but checked there by Gomes. Turns out the Rays have gone to the bullpen early.
Yeah, irony. Rays making all the moves.
The pitch is a strike. Show Martin out there. You know, this Texas club up 5-1. They'll steal third base on you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this team, number 2 in the league in stolen bases. You always think of the Rangers as a very powerful team, and they can be, but they will run. No question.
That's a strike.
They've got five guys in double digits. Andrus, of course, leading the charge. Martin, second in line. Rios already 5th in line on this team. He hasn't been here for very long. Beginning of August.
Foul the other way. Yeah, Martin, 7th overall in the league in steals, and Andrus, who's on deck, is 3rd. Martin with a couple of steals of third base in 2 attempts, and Andrus, who's on deck. How about this? He has 9 steals of third base. He's 9 out of 10 stealing third this year.
You know, the best base runners, the very good base runners, will tell you that stealing third is actually easier than swiping second.
Fly ball to center. Jennings there to make the catch. Tag. Martin heads to third. He'll be there with 1 out.
You're afforded the opportunity out there. You don't have a guy holding you on. You have middle infielders keeping you close, but they're not holding you on. That affords you a little bit bigger of a lead, and you can extend that lead, try to get that walking lead, which the good ones will do. And if a pitcher doesn't stop you, you've got a head start. A lot of pitchers get disinterested. Runner on second, they're thinking, I got to be good to the plate. They're so enamored with that, what's going on at home plate and making a quality pitch, that sometimes you get a little lazy to the guy behind you, and he'll walk into third.
Infield up for the Rays with Martin at third. Elvis Andrus at the plate. Gomes throws him a strike.
Yeah, good first pitch breaking ball there. Andrus probably wishing he had taken a swing at that, looking for, I think, for the fastball, obviously, because what he wants more than anything is something with a little elevation to get over these infielders' heads, drive that run in.
Into the dirt, blocked by Lobaton. Nice job there.
Confidence. You only make this pitch if you have confidence in what's going on behind the plate. Very Johnny Benchish.
A 1-1 count. And that's a strike, a fastball. Hellickson charged with all 5 runs. He gave up a couple of home runs tonight in 2 2/3. Wesley Wright pitched an inning and a third. Surrendered a double. That runner's now at third with 1 out. Two and two. More action in the Rays bullpen. The lefty Alex Torres. The left side, foul.
You see Andrus on that swing trying to get underneath that baseball to make sure that he gets a little lift out of it. I'll tell you what, I'd like to see that fastball for strike 2. Another one, crossfire right to that outside corner.
Took a shot, and the peek down to third had Andrus ducking in case he had to get out of the way of a throw. The fastball missed wide.
Well, I like that idea for 2 reasons. Number 1, to freeze Andrus again, you put it in a very good spot. Or, if he does swing at that pitch, kind of a late swing, an emergency type swing, and you get a little 2-hopper to the right side, well, you've got your infielders set up nicely.
Little number rolled up the right side this time on the slider. So we'll come in with another 3-2 pitch. The right side toward the line. Myers into foul territory, makes the catch, tagged by Martin. Throw to the plate, not going to be in time. Well, the Rays did about everything they could do there, and Martin beat the play.
That's it. It took the guy who's 7th in the league in stolen bases to score right there, because Myers, covers some ground to get over to this. You're going to see the tag, the catch, and here comes the throw. Just a little bit too much speed. It's a nice job by Martin staying wide and reaching back for home plate with the left hand, making it as hard and as far for Lobaton to have to go.
That makes it a 5-run game again. It's 6-1. Here's Alex Rios. Strike on the outside part of the plate. So the run is charged to Wesley Wright. 1 run in an inning and a third. It's 1-1. Way again off the plate, 2-1. Rays opened the homestand with a 6-2 win last night. They got 12 hits. They are down 6-1 tonight. It's a base hit the other way for Rios. 2-out single, and the Rangers have another base runner.
See where Lobaton is set up. That ball's meant for the inner half. It stays away, and Rios with that leverage and the reach, able to just shoot that ball into right field.
Well, prior to that hit, the Rangers had put 6 base runners on and had scored them all. Rios becomes the 7th base runner they've had tonight.
Extreme efficiency for an offense that has not been very good.
Adrian Beltre pops it up. It'll be handled by Zobrist. 1 run, 2 hits, a man left. It's a 6-1 Texas lead.
Growing up watching sci-fi flicks with her old man. So I'm pretty excited to invite you here to the Trop on Saturday for Star Wars night. There are special Star Wars tickets you can buy, and with each of them, yeah, you get this little guy right here. Jedi Zoe, well equipped with the lightsaber. You know you want one. So come out in costume. There will be prizes, little trivia challenges here on Saturday against the Orioles. What do you guys think? Looks a lot like him, doesn't it?
I think it's really a great likeness.
It is, even down to the two-tone between the hair and the beard, a little beard and up over.
No detail left unnoticed.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, they do a great job with the bobbleheads. all of the bobbleheads, and I'm assuming too with the Raymond Bobble Belly.
Yeah.
But those are high quality, well made little trinkets and whatnot.
Yeah, the Bobble Belly, exact duplicate of Raymond.
Which we found out was a sea dog.
Yeah, that's what we hear now. Up the middle, and Andrus, the shortstop, goes into the dirt. Moreland cannot come up with it. De Jesus is safely aboard. Well, the Rays need to get a little break here to get something going. Down 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, the bottom of the order. Let's get it started again. Andrus right here, just a little bit lazy on the throw. Seemed to have plenty of time, and he short hops Moreland, who cannot come up with it. Well, you know what? That just shows you how invaluable a great glove man like Loney is. That, you know, listen, no scoop is easy, but that's, if you're going to rate scoops, that was as easy as it's going to come. A little short hop out in front of the glove.
14th error of the year charged to Andrus. Lobatone, who has accounted for the only run of the night for the Rays with a 3rd inning home run up here, fouling away the first pitch. Jose's 7th home run of the season, his 6th as a left-handed hitter. Alexi Ogando misses outside. 1-1. Frazier up for the 2nd time in the bullpen for Texas. Down to first. Moreland scoops. Down to second one. Back to first. They get the 3-6-3.
How about that? He goes from a scoop that I'll bet you Mitch said I should have made that play to all of a sudden coming off the bag, a hard hit ball by Lobatone. He gets it started and he finishes it himself. But right here, quick down and a quick, very good feed. Get back, find the bag. And just that quickly, the Rays 2 down.
And how about helping out Ogando? He's 1 out away from a 5-inning stint.
Didn't see this coming at all. Yeah, I think that Ron Washington, we were all thinking maybe 3. If he's extremely efficient, you could get 4 innings out of him. I mean, this is a guy who hasn't started a game since the middle of August, was on the disabled list, and since he's come off, his longest outing's been 2 innings and 28 pitches.
Yeah, here he is in the mid-60s in pitch count in the 5th inning, 2 outs in.
And you know what? Listen, mid-60s and through 5 is extremely efficient. You didn't know if he would have that kind of length in him.
2-1. It's particularly impressive in that he made all those innings in the all those pitches in the 3rd inning when the Rays scored that run. He made over 20 pitches alone in that frame.
None the worse for wear in the 4th.
Into center field. Martin runs to it, makes the catch. The Rays are finished in the 5th. We have gone through 5. 6-1 Texas. Baltimore Orioles. How about this? Darth B.A.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I'm going to tell you what. First of all, here's where you got to watch yourself, because right there, that's a battle of switch hitters, Dwayne. You got to be wary of Ben going back and forth, but the same with Darth B.A. Who, by the way, I'm assuming along the lines there of Darth Vader, the single greatest villain in the history of cinema.
What I'm happy is that we finally found the proper vehicle for that photo of you.
Thank you. And I hope it gets retired. It should go down right here as I strike down Jedi Zoe, then it's done.
And then you rule the...
well, for a time.
The Darth B.A. Empire?
For a time.
Okay.
Then there's, it's a whole saga.
Alex Torres, the new pitcher for the Rays, their 4th of the night. We're going into the 6th inning. 34th appearance for Alex with a 159 earned run average. Just excellent numbers right across the board. And he faces A.J. Pierzynski. Cut the miss. Pierzynski's line to center and got out pitcher first. A 1-1 count. These teams getting together for the first time since back in April. Early April, when the Rays lost 2 out of 3 to Texas in their home ballpark in Arlington. Winners last night, taking game 1 of a 4-game series, a 6-2 final last night in favor of the Rays. Rangers leading 6-1 tonight. Foul ball out of play. City holding a 1-0 lead, bottom of the 3rd in Kansas City over the Indians. Down to third base. Longoria sailed a bit, but a reach by Loney. One gone. Now Jeff Baker here for the 2nd time tonight. Lance Berkman started in the DH role. Berkman went 0 for 1. Baker back to the mound, reaching down Torres, and the throw to first. Quick out number 2.
A little bit of late action on that pitch by Torres takes it right off the end of the bat by Baker. Watch this late movement. Right there. That just takes all of the sting out of that. Easy play for Alex Torres.
Jim Adducci faces the left-hander, and Torres, this is upstairs. Adducci spent a little time big leagues with Chicago last year. Won 10 seasons in the minor leagues. Just under 900 games. And a short, knocked down by Loney, and he steps on the bag. It's a 1-2-3, 6th inning. 6-1 Texas. They took a 1-0 lead. They added 4 in the third, 2 coming on Kinsler's base hit, and then 2 more on the home run by Elvis Andrus. Rays got a run on the 7th home run of the season by Jose Lobaton. Texas added a run in the 5th. And here we go in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 6-1. And Ben Zobrist out of the leadoff spot tonight, facing Joakim Soria, who follows Alexio Gondo to the hill, who worked 5 innings of 1-run, 2-hit baseball. And a high chopper grab by Soria, who comes down and makes the throw to first. 1 away here in the Rays' half of the 6th inning. We'll check in with Todd Callis. Todd?
Dwayne, you were talking about the Raymond bobblehead earlier. Here's a look at it. A bobble belly, actually. It's not really a bobblehead. As you can see, the whole belly shakes right there. Kids 14 and under on Sunday afternoon. Brought to you by Chevrolet, this Raymond bobble belly. It'll be when the Rays take on the Orioles. See, there you go. But if he ever gets in a steel cage match, guys, with Jedi Zoe, there could be an issue. Look at the size differential. Jedi Zoe dominates Raymond Bobblebelly. But still, Raymond Bobblebelly, Kids Sunday, Family Fun Day, all that going on Sunday against the Orioles. Don't miss it, kids. 14 and under. Back to you.
Okay, is there any doubt in your mind whatsoever that Todd is going to continue that battle when he gets back to his bunk bed tonight?
There's absolutely no question. Cut the miss by Will Byers. 0-2. Jedi Zoe with a superior reach, but somehow he's got to reach around the bobble belly. Maybe a strategy of some sort employed there.
Wow.
What to the Captain Myers?
I want to hear him do it with sound effects. You know, the whole thing.
Have to be later.
Much.
2-2. The count to Will. Full count. Soria missed all of the 2012 season after Tommy John surgery in April of 2012. Rangers signed him to a 2-year deal with a club option from 2015. There's a shot headed toward the gap, deep into left center field and off the wall. Myers in at second with a double. How about that for a line drive?
Well, again, you know, this is my 6th season with the club, Dwayne, in this ballpark, and I've never seen a line drive with that trajectory get to that part of the wall. It almost knocked the wall down. I've never seen anybody hit a ball that hard on that line. I mean, that's just a double into the gap that's going to bounce and one-hop the wall. Instead, watch this. About knocks the wall down. Jeez.
It's a great shot slowing it down off the top of the wall out there. You know, you get back into that neighborhood and you're close to the deepest part of the park where it angles back and peaks right out there. Just to the left of the deepest part of that little triangle.
And I mean, a hair. He hits that ball a hair lower, and that ball is over the Captain Morgan's deck. Not into the Captain Morgan's deck. That ball is over the Captain Morgan's deck.
What was the hit speed on that, you say? 106.2.
Hardest we've seen.
That's it.
105.5 was the reigning champion. That was Delman Young in Minnesota. 106.2. That's the winner right there. And like I said,
can see how that would be 106 and above to, on a line, hit the wall out there the way it did.
Yeah. I mean that kind of trajectory, like I said, your best bet is to bounce the ball into the gap. Great double. That almost went out and just was blistered.
It's his 18th double of the year. Loney trying to get him home. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Roberto Hernandez up now in the Rays bullpen. Takes the count to 2-2. Covered up. Pitch down. Full count. Well, so far this year, Soria has, in a small sample, but still has been strikingly more effective against lefties, who are 3 for 34 against him, and 088 than right-handers, who are 10 for 31. That's 323. One on, one out in the 6th.
He was one of the best closers. You go back to his days in Kansas City, 2 seasons of 40-plus saves. And that's what Texas was banking on, that if he comes back healthy, he can really, really boost their bullpen.
2-2, and he strikes out Loney. Fastball up. 2 gone.
Steady pitches, a steady number of pitches, down, down, down. He gets you looking down and then surprises you up.
Here's Evan Longoria. Evan looking for his first hit of the game. Fastball inside, up a bit. Strike, except with a home run by Lobaton. Really, it has been an uneventful attack for the Rays tonight. Lobaton hit one out down the right field line in the 3rd. Not much else doing. There's a shot the other way, deep to right. Rios to the wall for it, making the catch, and the Rays are retired in the 6th. We'll go to the 7th, 6-1 Texas. 1. Here's your chance to win a jersey right off a player's back and other great prizes at Rays home games September 20th through the 23rd during the annual Shirts Off Our Backs fundraiser. All proceeds benefit the Rays Baseball Foundation. For details, visit raysbaseball.com/community. Alex Torres, who worked a 1-2-3 6th inning out here to open the 7th. Mitch Moreland to lead it off. Martin and Kinsler to follow. Moreland walked and scored. He opened the 3rd inning with a walk and eventually scored on Kinsler's RBI single. It's a fair ball up the left field side. DeJesus over to pick it up in a hurry, but in at second ahead of the throw, Mitch Moreland, who is on for the 2nd time tonight.
Mitch Moreland finding some green grass up that left field line. That ball right off the end of the bat. We've seen a number of hits like this off the end of the bat, cue shots. Just drops it in. Good hustle by DeJesus to try to make a play at second base, but Moreland able to get in there.
Moreland a double up the left field line. Martin doubled up the left field line in the 5th inning. Martin again, double to right, and again up the left field line. He takes it up the left field side. On the run, DeJesus got it. DeJesus, a fine catch toward the line and left for the 1st out, holding Moreland to second. He had to go back to second after the catch.
I was just going to say, Dwayne, on that previous play, nice to see David DeJesus with the Rays down 6-1, not quitting, hustling, trying to make a play on Moreland. And he comes right back here and makes a tremendous play on Martin. Watch him watch that ball right into the glove. That is well done by the Rays left fielder.
And Joe Madden pops out of the Rays dugout. He has Ramon Hernandez in the bullpen, making the Metro PCS call to the bullpen. They have a threat to get another one. Tune in tomorrow for the Wednesday night showdown as the Rays take on the Rangers, sponsored by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Roberto Hernandez, the new pitcher for the Rays, he follows Alex Torres, who pitched an inning and a third, allowing 1 hit, and departs with a man at second base. Hernandez making his 29th appearance with a .489 earned run average. He's on to face Kinsler. Kinsler takes it foul the opposite way, out of play. Kinsler homered in the first, singled home 2 more runs in the third.
Roberto Hernandez, looking to carve out a niche for himself here in Joe Maddon's bullpen. He's had some good outings coming out of the pen, some not so good. Same idea as a starter, trying to show why he's valuable and can be counted upon here down the stretch, because Joe Maddon is going to get use out of his entire roster. And so it's just a matter of where you get slotted in. And that's what Roberto Hernandez is working towards.
Chopper foul. A 1 ball, 2 strike count. Right at the feet of Lobaton. And he gets a new baseball. Starting play, the Rays, a game up on Texas at 82 and 67. Texas coming in 81 and 68. All of that in the wild card chase. Cleveland a game and a half back. A half game back of Texas. Foul again outside of third. Royals have a 3-0 lead in Kansas City. The game in the top of the 4th inning, leading the Indians. Another foul ball, 1-2. Chris Archer will pitch tomorrow for the Rays against Derek Holland. Matt Moore scheduled Thursday against Yu Darvish. So some pretty good pitching matchups here the next 2 days. Chopped to third. Longoria makes sure Moreland remains at second and throws out Kinsler. The 2 away with a man still at second here in the 7th.
That was well done all around by the Rays. Hernandez in that good battle with Kinsler. And once again, how many times have we said it? A nice play by Longoria on the charge and throw out. Right here, you got to do 3 things. You got to charge, make the play, look the runner back, make an accurate throw.
Check, check, and check.
Every time.
Elvis Andrus, who homered in the third, 1 for 3 against Hernandez here in the 7th inning. And he looks at the slider wide, 1-0. Chopper, foul. Helderson pitched 2 2/3 tonight. Left after 40 pitches. And the bullpen picking up the rest. Wesley Wright, Brandon Gomes, Alex Torres, and Roberto Hernandez comes inside off the plate to Elvis Andrus. Cesar Ramos busy in the bullpen. That takes the count to 3-1. The off speed, and Andrus would not bite. That's a strike.
He picked a nice time to break out that slider. Andrus, after watching Ian Kinsler get a steady diet of fastball, sinkers, changeups.
So it's 3-2 with Moreland off second. And he just missed down with it. It's only the second walk given up by Rays pitching tonight. It comes with 2 outs in the 7th. Andrus laid off a couple of changeups in that sequence of pitches. Now Alex Rios. 1 for 3 tonight, facing Hernandez for the first time this evening in this game. Rays have trailed from the get-go. Ground ball third. Longoria will go to second for the force, and we'll head into the bottom of the 7th inning. 7th inning stretch time. 6-1 Texas.
In a game that has importance to the Rays, the Boston Red Sox are hosting the Baltimore Orioles. Red Sox led 2-1 in this game until Chris Davis, watch where this one goes, over the center field wall, straight away center. Home run number 51, the all-time record for the most home runs in a single season for the Baltimore Orioles. Are tied at 2. As you can see, past Brady Anderson, who hit 50 in 1996. All tied at 2 with Boston batting in the bottom of the 6th. The Red Sox started the night with a magic number of 4 to wrap up the AL East, guys.
All right, Todd, thanks for that. Oh, what a blast by Davis. What a year. Wow. Between Davis and how hard we've seen Will Myers hit the ball, they have crushed it. Neil Cott's the new pitcher, and Delman Young pinch hits against the lefty.
So you're saying that opening series against the Orioles here at Tropicana Field was not a fluke or just a hot week?
Not an aberration by any stretch.
How about that? He started that year off here with 3 home runs and 11 ribbies in that first 3-game series. Hadn't stopped.
Delman Young with a count of 2-1. 2-2. Soria worked an inning. Gave up a hit, no runs, picked up a strikeout. Delman fouls it out of play. Joyce was 0 for 2. Young bats for him. Pops it into shallow center. Kinsler got a good jump and is out there to make the catch easily from second base. So that's the first out in the game tonight and all season. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Desmond Jennings. Inside. Cox has been on a bit of a run. Just under 10 scoreless innings with 11 strikeouts spread over now 12 appearances. Jennings fouls it out of play. Now 3-1. Count. They have kept Cox busy since he joined the club. He was at Round Rock, and now in the 100 games he has been in a Rays uniform this year, or the Texas uniform, he's made 50 appearances. So he's been in 50 games out of the 100 he's been up with the big club. Jennings out number 2. David DeJesus is due, and Sean Rodriguez will pinch hit for him. Sean's average .251. Pitch to Rodriguez is high. A ball, no strikes. 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Scott out on deck. And 3-1. Rodriguez pops it up. It's a foul ball. It'll be out of play. So the count is full. Ground ball to short. Andrus with his throw to first, and the Rays are up and down in order. We're headed into the 8th now, 6-1 Texas. From Tropicana Field, we go to the 8th inning tonight. Second game of the 4-game series. Adrian Beltre leads off for Texas and takes a strike from Roberto Hernandez. Sean Rodriguez, after bouncing out pinch hitting for DeJesus in the 7th, stays on to play left in the place of David DeJesus. 1 count here to Beltre. Chop foul, 0-2. Five runs off Hellickson, 1 charge to Wesley Wright. Gomes, Torres, and Hernandez have followed.
You know, tonight's game, and you're hoping that the Rays, with 2 opportunities left, can come back and make some noise here and give them a great finish. But this is why you play the games. I mean, when you look at this game right here, you're saying, okay, Jeremy Hellickson, since he's gotten the extra rest, has been outstanding. He's going to throw the ball well, continue to build off his last outing. And, you know, Texas is going with Ogando, his longest outing in the last month and some change. It's been 2 innings and 28 pitches. Going to be a bullpen day for Texas. They're down anyway, free falling. 7 games in a row they've lost, haven't held a lead in any of them. Sets up perfectly for a Rays to get the jump out 2-0. And just like that,
first pitch of the game.
Yeah, right. First pitch of the game, the Rangers get their lead. Jeremy doesn't have the outing you expect from him. Ogando goes 5. Didn't expect that from him. Precisely why these games.
There's a base hit through the hole, just out of the reach of the diving Longoria.
You just never know. That's why you've got to show up every night ready to play. Especially now when you're starting to get down, closing in on single digits of games left in the year.
Well, and with A.J. Pierzynski coming up here, we're going to get another pitching change, and that all goes hand in hand with closing down. transmitted in any form. The descriptions and accounts of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. Cesar Ramos, the new pitcher for the Rays, number 6 on the night. A.J. Brzezinski at the plate. Fouls it off to the left. Brzezinski gets right up there on that plate and waits. Almost making his 44th appearance.
And that's why you see so many of those frustrating type hits that he gives up. A little flip into the opposite field, jam shots.
There's one a little close. Fastball moves him back.
And he took one off his thumb earlier in the game.
Yeah, here's the interesting note on him. He's drawn 9 unintentional walks all year. He's been hit 8 times. So he's been hit almost as many times as he's walked. Into center, and right there is Jennings. That's the first out. Jim Hickey trots to the mound.
I think the Rays are trying to set a record tonight. Trips to the mound.
Well, it's been a division of labor. Madden and Hickey.
They might have to re-sod from the dugout to the mound. Some of that new turf in here.
Yeah. There could be a little dip right across the baseline there.
Yeah.
You have to fill that in, stamp it down,
fluff it back up.
Jeff Baker, and he takes the pitch low, 1 ball and no strikes. There's a strike. Cut and a miss by Baker. Down to first, and Beltre's back in safely. Ramos pitched 2 innings in the rain game in Minnesota. 2-2, curveball missing. Six pitchers for the Rays and 3 for Texas. Strike 3 call. So Baker out on strikes for the 2nd time tonight. 2 outs in the 8th. The Ducey spot is due, but we're going to get a pinch hitter for Texas. Craig Gentry will pinch hit for Jim Ducey. Too low. ball and no strikes. And that's a ball, says plate umpire Manny Gonzalez. Cesar Ramos falls behind in the count. And there's ball 3. A couple of these pitches have been close to the plate in the zone. And the pitch is in there for a strike. 3-1. Josh Lukey up in the bullpen. Ramos comes back to run the count all the way out to 3-2.
Well, with Lukey warming up, anytime you get in these situations where the starter doesn't go very long, and Joe Madden obviously going to have to use a bullpen, and it's just piece it together. You don't want to overexpose somebody. You don't want anybody down for any number of days, so everybody shares the burden.
Popper into shallow right. Will Myers makes the catch. Leadoff single, a man left on base. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 6-1 Texas.
Question: do you think both the Rays and the Rangers will win the 2 AL wildcard spots? Hashtag TB1 yes, hashtag TB2 only Tampa Bay, hashtag TB3 only the Rangers, hashtag TB4 neither. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. We'll have all the results of the Rays live postgame show presented by Checkers. We'll also hear Joe Madden's thoughts at his press conference. Kelly Nash gathering interviews from the clubhouse. If that Orioles-Red Sox game ends by the time we get off the air, we'll have highlights of that. And we'll tell you about the score of the Durham Bulls game playing their final game of the year, the national championship game against Omaha. They had a perfect game going against them until Tim Beckham had a hit in the 7th inning with 2 outs, guys.
All right, thank you for that update. Kelly Johnson pinch hitting rolls it to shortstop. And the play made by Andres across to first. Now let's go to Los Angeles for another game break. There are the American League wildcard standings. The Rays coming in a game up on Texas. The Rangers lead late in this game. And you got the update on the Cleveland contest. Luke Scott will pinch hit for Escobar. And the pitch is a strike. Tanner Scheppers, the fourth pitcher of this game for Texas. Fastball got in there at 98.
Hey, Tanner Scheppers, I'll tell you what, he's put together a nice season here. 49 strikeouts, 66 innings. Look at that earned run average, 205 in 66 appearances.
Well, he got off to a great start. In fact, he led all major league relievers in earned run average in early June. June the 2nd, his earned run average was 0.64. He'd given up only 2 runs, solo home runs, to Miguel Cabrera and to Adam Dunn, and that was it.
Understandable.
And he strikes out Scott. That's 98.
A little quicker there to the plate. Quicker to the plate and big velocity. Scheppers able to pick the strikeout right there. Very little as far as leg kick goes. He just kind of wind up and blows it. Boy, look at that. That, you talk about Bayou. Up close to him. It's my second favorite Tanner in baseball.
The first one being
Tanner Boyle, shortstop. The Bears, sponsored by Chico's Bail Bonds. Is that the best sponsor in the history of Little League Baseball? Chico's Bail Bonds. He was he was feisty.
Yep. Strike the count to Zobers.
My favorite move is when they were just giving up runs like it was their job early in the season. Mm-hmm. And at one point, a runner came running across second base, and he just took his glove off and fired it at him. Just drilled him as he rounded second.
Line shot. It's grabbed by Kinsler. And the Rays are up and down. 1, 2, 3. We go to the 9th. 6-1 Texas. Moving over to play short. Join forces with the Rays at the 2nd annual Star Wars night. Watch the Rays battle the Orioles September 21st and get the discounted seat in the press level, a special edition Jedi Zoe bobblehead, and the chance for photo opportunities, costume contest, and more. For tickets, Visit RaysBaseball.com/special events. Mitch Moreland will open the 9th inning. The Texas first baseman against Cesar Ramos. First pitch is a strike. There's Kelly Johnson now at second base. There's Jimenez behind the plate doing the catching now. Cut the miss by Moreland. 0-2. Texas jumped out in front early. Home run from Kinsler on the first pitch of the game. They had a 4-run third, another run in the 5th. The Rays a run in the 3rd on Mobitone's home run. Texas came in here on a 7-game losing streak tonight, dropping 10 of their last 11. And Moreland is out on strikes. A couple of strikeouts for Ramos in his stint.
The Rays just were never able to mount a serious threat. You know, after the Rangers jumped out early, they of course took the lead early, first pitch of the game, and then had that big 3rd inning. But the Rays just have never seriously threatened at all. You got to tip your hat to the job that Alexi Agondo did in his outing and the bullpen thereafter. That certainly makes the next 2 ball games very interesting if the Rays don't mount a furious rally here in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, that's exactly right. The pitching matchups are going to be good. Chris Archer and Derek Holland. That's tomorrow night. And then on Thursday night, Matt Moore and Hugh Darvish. One and one. Pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. Holland in at 9-9. Chris Archer 9 wins and 7 losses. Foul ball. Steady defense down there protecting the Rays bullpen. And you really have to be on your toes because you never know when you're going to be called upon.
You never know. You're down there to protect the big boys. You got Scott Kersey there, the enforcer. You do not want to let one get by you and up his back.
No, you do not want to make him angry.
No, he will roll you up into a pretzel before you can say I'm sorry.
2-2.
If you get your head out of the stand, you made a nice play.
Done it before.
That's right.
A long one back into deep right. Myers will run out of room, and Martin has just hit it out. Martin's 8th home run of the year will make it 7-1.
Boy, what a huge night for Martin. Couple of doubles. This home run, he scored 3 runs.
So Martin extends the Texas lead with this pitch. Put the breaking ball out of here. Rangers had not hit a home run in 7 games. That's their 3rd of this game. And with that, Joe Maddon heads to the mound to make the pitching change. That'll be it for Cesar Ramos. Back in a moment. Tonight, pitcher number 7. The Rays down 7-1. Seventeenth appearance for the Rays right-hander facing Ian Kinsler. One. Kinsler started the Texas scoring when he hit the first pitch of the game down the left field line and out of here. Drove in 2 runs with a base hit in the 3rd. Pops it toward left center. Jennings to make the catch. 2 gone now. Ellis Andrews, the shortstop, will be up. Pitch too high. 1-0. Ground ball, base hit into right by Andrews, who's on for the 3rd time. So Lukey touch for a base hit. It's the first time we've seen Lukey on the hill since September the 2nd in Anaheim.
It's over 2 weeks. That you talk about being difficult to stay sharp. Try to go 15 days between appearances. I don't care how much throwing you do in the bullpen.
Yeah, it's never quite the same, is it?
No. You want to get ready and prepare for a game, then get into a game. That's about it.
Rios taking a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. Strike the count.
Lukey has always had the stuff. Good velocity.
There's Joe Nathan, the closer, For Texas, he hasn't pitched in 8 or 9 days.
Yeah, right.
How about that?
Usually there's a lead required. And that's something the Rangers have not had. And guess what? Apparently they're not taking any chances either. Up by 6, runner on. Well, obviously he needs to work. And every win this time of year is big. I don't care if you get a credit for a save or not. Close it out, take the win, and move on. What both of these teams are trying to do.
It's 1-2. Stopped by Jimenez. 2 outs with a runner at first, a run home on the 3rd Texas home run of the night. One hop to second. Johnson takes care of that. 1 run, 2 hits, and we go to the bottom of the 9th. 7-1 Texas. After winning last night 6-2. Joe Nathan will be the new pitcher. This is the 9th day for Nathan. The last time he was in a game was on the 8th of this month against the Angels in Los Angeles and Anaheim.
How about those numbers? You don't want to see Joe Nathan dominating across the board.
So here's Will Myers. The pitch from Nathan is high. 1 ball, no strikes. Base hit into left. Off the fastball. Myers has his 2nd hit tonight. It's only the 4th hit collected by the Rays tonight. A line drive base hit. The other hit was at 106.2 line drive double off the wall.
Again, this is where you're going to get hurt by Will Myers. You know, that's one thing that he has done a great job of since he started to heat back up in September. Is he's not leaving the zone with his swing as much as he had been when he was struggling. He's forcing those pitchers to try to throw the ball over the plate, preferably with a little bit of elevation. And when they've done that, he's been able to hit them hard.
James Loney fouls it. Kansas City has a 3-1 lead on Cleveland at the top of the 6th in Kansas City. Indians have a run home in the 6th, and they've loaded the bases with 2 outs. Loney pops it left side. Andrus out from shortstop, making the catch in shallow left. 1 away.
I'll tell you what, the Rangers have a couple of middle infielders here between Andrus and Kinsler who get good jumps and cover a lot of ground. Able to get back on those pop-ups. Those sometimes can be the tweeners that drop in.
Here's Evan. Longoria hit the ball to the wall in right field in the 6th inning, making a bid for extra bases. It's fouled right back. Strike 1. Ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. He's facing the 38-year-old right-hander. Nathan came back and posted 37 saves last year for Texas. After spending the bulk of his career with the Twins, came up with San Francisco. It's fouled right back, going to be out of play. The count is square, 2-2. Nathan missed all of the 2010 season. Tommy John surgery. .337 saves, 13 years. And Longoria, big cut and a miss at the fastball.
Well, Nathan, he comes right after you. Very good stuff, fully recovered. And right here, Evan, I think, gets a little bit tied up there with the swing, expecting something on the outer half of the plate. That one tracking right on the inner third.
Delman Young, who entered the game in the 7th as a pinch hitter. Cleveland settled for 1 run in the 6th, so the Royals bat in the bottom of the 6th, leading the Indians 3-1. Delman whiffs a fly ball to right. It's Rios waiting for it. This ball game is over. The Texas Rangers have snapped their 7-game losing streak and hang a 7-1 loss on the Rays tonight. Rays leave a man on after picking up a base hit in the 9th. And so this series is even at a game apiece, and the American League wild card race even at the top, with the Rays and the Rangers sporting identical records of 82 and 68 at the moment. 1 game ahead of Cleveland, and the Indians, as we mentioned a moment ago, playing their game in the bottom of the 6th at Kansas City, and they trailed 3-1 in that one. 7-1 the final. Texas over the Rays. We'll be back in a moment.